everyone. This is Animezingly Baka, the amazingly stupid podcast all about anime and movies and TV shows and comics and manga and music and books. And I need to solidify the order of what I say there because I don't think there's been consistency since ever yet. But this is Animezingly Baka, the amazingly stupid podcast that now comes out on a Monday. Because if you are watching or listening to this on the day of its release, you'll realize it's a day early. And that is because I've changed the schedule of releases for podcasts with Animezingly Baka on a Monday, Attack the Backlog on Wednesday, and the Pixelated Sausage Show on Friday. I should have put S's at the end of those on a Mondays. Mondays. On a Mondays. But we are here to do what we do. Of course, there's seasonal anime. I haven't checked out anything new. I am so close to finishing Orb, which I'm excited about because one, great show, but also I can't wait to rewatch the first two seasons of Fire Force. I am so set on letting its little bit of its fan service character just not bug me at all and find out what it is that everyone else loves about the show. Because I did enjoy it sans that. I remember liking a lot about it and just having that be one of the standout kind of deterrents of it. But I'm excited to get to that. And then maybe I can check out some other seasonal. I don't know if there's anything out there that really speaks to me. Would love any recommendations from people if they have any that they think are worth checking out. But in terms of my great Star Wars rewatch, which I know we're all so very excited to continue talking about, I have, since the last episode, finished Star Wars Resistance. And my opinion hasn't changed. It is a nothing show, a technically canon show where nothing important happens, but it's technically canon because you see familiar characters every now and again, just so you're reminded of the fact that this is real. These characters are all part of Star Wars proper. So care about it. For the love of God, please care about this show. It's important, but it's not important. But what frustrates me is that I think if they didn't bother with all of this resistance crap, and it was just about these people living on this station and doing their things, racing and all that jazz, I think it could have been a fun show because the characters are not bad. I grew to like Kaz over the course of the entire series, but then you have characters like Niku, who I think are genuinely good Star Wars characters, fun Star Wars characters that are just kind of short tripped by being in this nothing series. I forget her name, but the converted former pirate, she's great. I think the one standout moment of the entire series for me was when who was it? I don't think it was the one dude's brother, but there's a point where a droid is with this one pilot, one dude, and another character asks for a tool or something, or I don't remember the exact situation, but the droid goes to help out the one guy who's not his friend, and when he's gonna hand him a tool, he just drops it like a mic drop, and then he does a little wiggle and backs away. I'm like, good on you, droid. Good on you, droid. That was the only part of the entire series that I was like, oh, I like that. That was fun. But overall, it's a nothing story, a nothing show, as evident by the fact that I'm trying to think about anything to say regarding it. And I can't really say anything. It was the second season, especially, was just a waste of time of having these two sides where what's her face? What is her name? she went on to the fucking First Order with Elijah Wood's character, and it's like, oh, did she really turn, or does she have some internal conflicts where she's kind of like, oh, did I make the right? Blah, 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 blah. Who cares? This is just a waste of everyone's time. Why are we doing this? Obviously, she's going to go back to the. It's not called the Citadel. That's Mass Effect. The con. No, who cares? Whatever. Resistance is a show that no one needs to watch. Long story short, if you have not watched The Resistance, you don't need to watch Resistance. But that does mean I have moved on to Andor, which is coming back, I believe, on the 22nd, coming out in 3-episode arcs each week. I am 7 episodes into season 1, and I'm a little cooler on it this time than my initial watch. And what I've come to realize is that Andor is pretty good. It's well made. It is very well directed. Everything about the production of it is top notch. But from an episode to episode standpoint, if you just take an episode on its own, I don't know if I would say any episode of Andor is truly great. They have, I think all of them have great moments and great scenes and great bits and pieces. But I don't know if I would ever pull out a singular episode of Andor and say, this is great. If we take it like look at it as an Emmy nomination kind of situation where, for instance, in The Last of Us season 1, they took out episode 3, the one that focused on, what is the name of the character? But it focused on, what is the name of the actor now from Parks and Rec? I can't think of any names. My mind is a blank with everything. But they took out that episode and be like, this is a great standalone episode. This is a great piece of media. Let us award this, and so on. I don't feel like any episode so far for Andor would fall into that space. What Andor does so well, though, is constantly build upon itself. So what I think Andor is great at is in the building of its story. So each episode, every additional episode, it makes the show greater by continuing the story and building upon what has come before it. And I think that is why it is such a good show. Not because any individual part is great, but because everything when it comes together creates this great long story. I don't love everything about it. The stuff with the one dude and his mother, I'm like, I've had enough of this, honestly. Can't we just fucking move on from this? But it is very good at building upon itself over time and having those moments that grab you. But again, I don't think any single episode so far at least is something that's like, oh man, that was a great episode. Whereas with The Mandalorian, there are episodes that I would say are fucking great. And I'm curious. I think I'm still going to put Mandalorian above Andor, even though it's not really fair with Mandalorian having 3 seasons. So there's more opportunity for low points. And Andor currently only having 1 season as I'm ranking them. But Mandalorian has some really, really high moments, high points, some fantastic episodes. It does some really, really great character work. That's another weaker point for me with Andor is that Cass, Andor, the main character, I don't really like him all that much. I don't really care about his backstory, his history, anything regarding him. I was just like, okay. And when I look at every other character in the show, I'm like, I don't, whatever. nobody really stands out to me as someone I'm invested in or care about outside of the one senator lady. I think what they've done with her so far, I've enjoyed, and the actress does a really good job with her. But outside of that, it's just like, yeah, you know. So excited to finish that up and to get to season 2. Seeing some ridiculous reviews for season 2, which are not making me overly excited because when I see hyperbole like that, it definitely turns me off. So hopefully I can distance myself from that and not have it affect how I feel about season 1. But the Star Wars rewatch continues, but it's almost done. So thankfully, you won't have to deal with it for much longer. Movie wise, I decided to rewatch Reindeer Games for the first time since it came out. What, 20 plus years ago? And I did this because it recently got a UHD release from Kino Lorber. And oh my God, it is so bad. It's so bad and so stupid. It's a movie of Ben Affleck whining like a little baby with characters constantly threatening to kill him and never going through with it. And it's so frustrating because Ben Affleck is such an annoying piece of shit in it. It is maybe the worst. I would have to go through his entire filmography, and I've not seen things like is it Gigi? I don't know what the hell that movie is called. But of the stuff that immediately comes to mind that I can think of, it is easily the worst bit of acting I've ever seen from him. And I think he's a terrible actor in general. I don't like him. The only movies of his I own the Zack Snyder DCU stuff because Zack Snyder is just he is his own person and he has his style. And they're the more morbid curiosity movies that I have. I don't genuinely like Zack Snyder's stuff, but I think The Accountant is all right. But in Reindeer Games, he's overacting. So anytime someone kind of punches him, not kind of, so anytime someone punches him or gets hit with a dart, his mouth opens as large as he possibly. He's like fucking in the most excruciating pain ever. I don't know who was giving him direction. I would assume it'd be the director, which I can't believe that director made this, but like John Frankenfurter, I forget his name, but he did Ronin, he did Grand Prix, The Train, a very prominent and well-respected director. And then he directed this pile of shit. And I think this was the last movie. But Ben Affleck is so bad in it. He's so terrible. He's such a terrible actor. It's just like I can't believe how bad he is. And then the movie itself is stupid with these ridiculous, insane, nonsensical plot twists that are just there to be plot twists. They don't make any fucking sense. It's just the dumbest shit in the world. It's so stupid. Can't believe how stupid it is. Don't watch it. It's terrible. All right. But in terms of anime and all that jazz. So with this rescheduling, I'm recording these episodes likely always going to happen around Sunday evening. So new episode of Vigilantes, My Hero Academia Vigilantes has not aired. But I'm caught up with everything else. I didn't watch the last episode. Oh, I forgot about One Piece. Did not watch that most recent one. But I have seen, I'll caught up with Apothecary Diaries. That continues to be great. What I'm coming to realize with that show is that with the stuff that happened a few episodes ago between Mao Mao and forget his name, the frog stuff,
I'm now just patiently waiting to see that progress. I want that bigger picture stuff to start. I want those seeds to start growing more consistently. So anytime we have these side stories or stuff that doesn't give us any movement there, I'm like, I still really like this, but man, I want some movement here. Please give me more frogs. I don't want more frog stuff in her and that she grabs his junk or anything, but that she learns who he actually is and so on. And I'm assuming that that means season 3 will be the final season. I don't know about the source material, how much is there and all that jazz, but I want more of that. Then with Windbreaker season 2, we got more of not the backstory, but we basically had the characters coming together after the fight was over, and it's been like, hey, one, you have what is his name? I hate how bad I am with names. Sakura. You have him feeling very defeated by the whole thing, even though they technically won. He let his fellow team members get beat up. He needed help from his upperclassmen to win the fight, and him feeling like a failure because of that. And his fellow team members. Why am I calling them team members? Everything about this is just my mind is just. Ugh. But them reassuring him that he did not. He he set out to help this one member of the group to get his friend back, to save his friend for that guy and the young girl who was also a friend of his, and he did that. So he accomplished what he set out to be. You know, whether regardless of how it played out, he did right by the group and all that. And then you also get teases of the fact that the team they were fighting was not really the main threat, and you get hints at who is going to be the main antagonist of the season, presumably. But it was a solid episode, giving us more character work, which again is something I wanted. I don't just want fighting all the time, as fun as that is. And then with Witch Watch, saw the last 2 episodes, and that show continues to be fun. The second episode was very referential. It felt very much so like it might be leaning towards that, but the third episode didn't do a whole bunch of that. But it was referencing plenty of anime and whatnot, and it felt very much so like this is a show for fans of anime. You can still enjoy Witch Watch if you're a newer anime fan, but if you're someone who's a more seasoned fan and you have a lot more experience with a lot of different shows, then you're going to enjoy the show more. But the third episode wasn't as referential in that sense. What I like about that show though is it plays around with magic in a way that you often have with more fun versions of genies, for example, where with a traditional kind of just very simple, not wanting to play around genie, you have your 3 wishes. You wish for them. You just say, "I want this," and you'll get it, and everyone's happy and all that. But with more fun versions of genies or something like Bedazzled, for instance, with the Brendan Fraser and Elizabeth Hurley, you may ask to be this super rich, amazing person, and she plays around with the fact that, oh, you're actually gay or you have a small penis. Watch Bedazzled. It's not great, but Brendan Fraser being who Brendan Fraser is, his inherent goodness makes the movie work. I don't know if anyone else could make bedazzle work outside of Brendan Fraser. But I like the way it plays around with the fact that one of the things she does to make moving her stuff into their house easier is to split herself into multiple versions of herself. But when she uses that spell, it splits not only herself, but it splits her physicality, her brain, so she becomes 2 smaller versions of herself. So she's what, 16 years old? So it splits her into like 2 12-year-old versions of herself with less intelligence, a more childlike brain, and then those split versions of herself split themselves, and now they're these little kids who are even dumber, and they're not making any progress with this moving in because they're all only able to carry 1 box. So when she was her regular self, she could carry 1 box by herself, but she wanna carry more. But when she's the 2 versions, they can only manage to carry 1 box together because 'cause they're weaker as well by being smaller, and the same goes when they're 4. It's fun, and you get a new character, her crow familiar shows up. You get some more stuff regarding the big disaster, the overarching story where the mother sent this slip of paper to the ogre that will disappear, or it has a sigil on it that will disappear once the disaster has passed so that he'll know when it's safe to not have to constantly be worrying about her. But it's a fun little show. I like it. And then in terms of Orb, I am about 5 episodes away from finishing it. Still really, really enjoying it. We I thought there was going to be more of a moment between Yolenta and her father, Noak, when they reunited 25 years later, but they just see each other. I don't know if he recognized her. I think she recognized him, and then she drops the torch and sets off a giant explosion. And I thought that he was going to take her gloves, which she still has, and place one on her severed arm because when the explosion happens, you see her arm flying off. I'm like, oh shit, her arm just flew off. He's probably gonna put the glove on it, and it's right by him, and he picks it up. And I thought he was gonna do it's gonna be like some Cinderella, like a really, really dark Cinderella moment where instead of placing the slipper on the woman and we're like, oh my god, you were the woman from the ball, Cinderella. The glass slipper fits. Like, hey, here's this severed arm of the leader of this liberation front who just blew herself up, and you thought she was dead for the last 25 years. Put on the glove and you realize, oh, it's a perfect fit. My daughter, she was the leader of this group and she just blew herself up. And I thought she was dead all this time. I didn't get any of like that was gonna be a weird moment, but he didn't do that at least. But again, I don't know if he realizes it was her or not, just from seeing her or not. But now you have the subordinates with the one girl who fucking I wish I could read through 60 pages of a book one time and immediately remember all of it perfectly. What an incredible skill to have. But after going through all that, now they're heading off to get the work of Oxy, whatever his name is, published, which I'm so happy about because he is my favorite character, and I want to see his words live on. But I'm excited to see how the story wraps up, and of course, excited to get to start watching Fire Force. But that's pretty much it in terms of all the anime watching and whatnot. A shorter episode this is. That is in part because of the fact that restructuring and rescheduling things were out of alignment this past week because of other scheduling stuff. So I haven't had as much time to get things set up as I would like. So this is that rough transitional episode. That's what we call this. The rough transitional episode to when things get more smooth with the next ones. And I want to start because of the existence of this podcast and all that. And just for myself, I think this will be a good motivation. I want to write notes and whatnot when I'm watching episodes because I hate how bad I am with names. And this is in real life too. You meet me in person, we better meet a whole bunch of times so that I can remember your name. Otherwise, who are you again? I don't know. I'm so bad with names. That is it. Yeah. Excited to watch more stuff. I don't know. That is just gonna do it, right? That is gonna do it for this here episode of Animezingly Baka. I'm of course your host, Marcus Nez. I am again, of course, Marcus Nez. Y'all can find me pretty much everywhere at PX Sausage. If you enjoy this here show or any of the stuff I do and what have you, you can support me and my nonsense over at patreon.com/PXS. There you can get access to a monthly Q&A, the occasional watch party, a private Discord channel, along with some fancy Discord roles, and the random drop on the Patreon here or there, depending on your tier. Or you could just support me to support me if that is your fancy. That is, again, patreon.com/PXS. In addition to the Patreon, you can find links to the site, the YouTube, the Discord, and so much more over at pxsausage.com. That is the letter P, the letter X, sausage.com. But that is it. That is all. As always, thank you for watching or listening. I hope you enjoy this here episode, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. But for now, adios, arrivederci. Bye
It's
bye.
go time. Go daddy. It's go time. Go daddy. It's go time. Go daddy.